With update 1.3, there's loads of awesome things like new armoured vehicles, mortars, gunship helicopters, and destruction. But aside from the new content comes big balance changes to the game that will make every game we play a different experience. So let's get into it. I just want to preface this video by saying all the values and balances talked about in this video are from the experimental branch of the game and could be changed at any moment. First up, what seems like a small change is that arsenals will no longer come equipped with medical items. Instead, you'll have to grab basic meds with bandages and tourniquets from command tents. A small change on the surface, but this means no access to more advanced medical items such as morphine, saline and medical boxes until a hospital or an ambulance has been built. Next up, we have the reason you're going to want an ambulance on standby. Leg injuries where mobility has become affected are much more punishing, reducing your movement to a snail's pace until healed up by a medic or over time. Vehicles and the supplies they carry are a huge part of Arma Reforger and the game's balance. There's been a couple changes that will really change how effective logistics players can be. First up, both the US and the Soviet transport trucks have received a huge buff from being able to carry 600 supplies up to a whopping 1500. And with the addition of the US cargo and transport vans, they can carry 800 and 500 supplies respectively. The Soviet team will now be able to get supplies around much faster. And to top it off, the Soviet Mi-8 helicopter also gets a huge buff from 400 supplies up to 1000. Next up, we have locked equipment coming to an arsenal near you. Equipment now has rank progression, so as private you will only have access to basic weapons, anti-tank and grenades, while more specialised weapons attachments and clothing will require you to level up. Either that, or you find what you want from a dead body and then save your loadout. Everyone's favourite spy strategy is getting a nerf. The game will now recognise if you're wearing enemy equipment and identify your faction. So if you're a US soldier wearing a Soviet uniform, any Soviets you kill while wearing it, you will lose XP as if you killed a friendly. And if a friendly US soldier happens to kill you while you're wearing it, they will no longer get punished. I think they want people to use the uniforms to actually spy on the enemy and give intel, rather than using it to get cheap kills. They actually implemented the personal belongings, which is a little card that has information about your character, although there's no way to show them to another player without knocking them out or them looting you. I think it would be great if you could ask a suspicious player to show their details, only to reveal a US home address, a great bit of dynamic gameplay. Another change with arsenals comes the refund system. Every item will have a refund cost associated with it, usually around 50% of the mark of the original cost. So when switching out your default loadout, you can hand in your items back into the arsenal so it's less of a supply cost. You can even hand in enemy equipment into your arsenal, so it's well worth looting after a fight for expensive equipment to net your own team with supplies. The logic for capturing bases has been changed. You can no longer spawn on a base that is actively being captured. However, to give the defending team a chance to react to an attack, it now takes considerably longer to capture enemy positions. The more radio connections connected to the point, the longer it will take to capture that base. In this example, as a solo player, capturing a base with 3 to 4 connections, it takes several minutes to capture alone. These are all the major balance tweaks coming with 1.3 so far. As mentioned earlier, things could change in a heartbeat before this update goes live, so if things are different in the future, please don't shout at me. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you out on the field.